Have you ever wondered how a show with one of the most insane rosters of characters in all of anime somehow manages to do almost nothing with most of them? How does Masashi Kishimoto spend years building up warriors with world-ending potential and then just forget they exist? Naruto is one of the greatest anime ever made, but it's also one of the most reckless abusers of talent this side of any fictional universe. From characters who spent years developing their abilities only to get sidelined, to characters who were literal geniuses, here are 10 characters absolutely disrespected by the Naruto story. Coming in at number 10 on the disrespect ladder is Tenten. And yes, the fact that she barely qualifies as a notable case of wasted potential is itself the most damning thing you can say about her. Kishimoto introduced her as a weapon master who dreamed of becoming a kunoichi as legendary as Tsunade. That's a compelling premise. A girl who's obsessed with tools, forging her own path in a world dominated by bloodlines and hereditary power. Out of all the Naruto characters in existence, Tenten may be the most underused. She was treated more like a failure than a shinobi, irrelevant to the plot even in moments when the rest of her team got to shine. She appears, she throws some scrolls, and then she basically evaporates. The Chunin exams gave her one fight she lost. That was it. That was her career. Kishimoto admitted he struggles with writing female characters, and Tenten is the walking evidence of that admission. Just ahead of her at number 9 is Shino Aburame, a character so aggressively sidelined that fans genuinely started wondering if the show had forgotten to write him out on purpose. Shino was introduced as one of the most unsettling members of the Konoha 11. Stoic, methodical, with insect abilities that gave everyone the creeps, and a detached personality that made him stand out from nearly every other character upon his introduction. His Chunin exam performance was legitimately impressive. He felt like a character the show was building towards something with. Then Shippuden started, and Kishimoto simply filed Shino away in a drawer and never opened it again. A man who could control bugs that eat chakra. Chakra, the lifeblood of every ninja in the entire series, and he just spent the war arc standing in the background. The potential for creative, terrifying combat was right there. The show chose not to use it. Yamato is next, and his situation is somehow even more insulting, out of its way to establish how rare and irreplaceable he was, before discarding him like old ramen packaging. Yamato is the sole survivor of an Orochimaru experiment that cost 59 children their lives, leaving him with the ability to use Wood Release. Wood Release is the legendary Kekkei Genkai of the first Hokage, the power that once tamed tailed beasts. He worked with Itachi, he was part of the Anbu Black Ops, he defied Danzo, but by the time the Fourth War arrived, Yamato was removed from the story almost entirely. Imprisoned by Spiral Zetsu during an arc that demanded that the narrative let him step up, sidelining him during what should have been his most pivotal moment. The man who could control the battlefield with trees got wrapped in vines off-screen, and shelved for the rest of the war. Phenomenal storytelling. Mei Terumi, the 5th Mizukage, is at number 7. This is probably the most absurd case of talent being buried under a single character trait in the entire series. This woman leads the Hidden Mist, one of the most feared villages in the world. She has 2 Kekkei Genkai strong enough to make a dent in the nearly impenetrable Mangekyo technique Susanoo, and she's been recognized as the strongest ninja in her entire nation. Kirigakure produced monsters, and she's the best of all of them. But what does Naruto have Mei talk about more than anything else? Marriage. Her desperate desire to find a husband. Somebody as strong as Mei shouldn't be reduced to a caricature, and that's exactly what happened to her. She's a woman with the power to dissolve Susanoo, but she was reduced to making jokes about her love life while the actual war happened around her. At number 6 is Shisui Uchiha. Shisui belongs somewhere on every single one of these lists, because what was done to his story is borderline criminal. He had a unique ability called the body flicker technique. This ability alone was worthy of serious attention, but his real power was Koto Amatsukami, one of the strongest genjutsu in existence. Koto Amatsukami could rewrite the will of any target without them even knowing it happened. That's not a jutsu, that's a weapon of mass psychological destruction. Both Shisui and Itachi so desperately desired peace that they were willing to go against their own clan and make huge personal sacrifices to achieve it, which makes their bond one of the most interesting relationships in the entire series. And yet, Shisui lives almost entirely in flashbacks, his story told in fragments, his motivations sketched rather than drawn. Kishimoto gave this man a power that could have changed the entire trajectory of the Uchiha massacre, the Fourth War, arguably the whole plot, and then kept him dead in the past, where nobody could ask too many questions. Anko Mitarashi is at number 5. Anko had every single ingredient for a legendary arc. She trained directly under Orochimaru. She survived his curse mark experiments. She knows his methods, his labs, his psychology better than almost anyone alive. That backstory alone is enough to fuel an entire season of compelling storytelling. When Orochimaru becomes relevant again in Shippuden, who better to drive the narrative tension than the student he scarred, the woman who carries his mark on her neck? Instead, Anko's character was stagnant and didn't appear in any major arcs after a certain point, eventually showing up heavier and irrelevant in the war arc with almost nothing to do. The show had a built-in Orochimaru foil with personal stakes, genuine trauma, and combat ability, and it chose to just dump it like garbage. Coming in at number 4 is Rock Lee. The disrespect that was fine to rock Lee is legendary. Kishimoto built Lee from the ground up as an argument against fate. No ninjutsu, no genjutsu, just an absolute lunatic who decided he was going to become a great ninja through sheer will and broken bones. His fight against Gaara in the Chunin exams is still one of the greatest moments in the entire franchise. Lee was quite possibly the most exciting character in the first few arcs of Naruto. Unfortunately, he quickly lost his role as an important character and was shafted to the sidelines in the second half of the story. His goals and motivation barely given any attention after the time skip. His one significant Shippuden contribution was cutting Edo Tensei Madara in half, but even this was treated like a footnote. From then on, he and the rest of the supporting cast were firmly pushed to the background to allow Naruto, Sasuke, and the revived Hokage to take center stage. Lee deserved a proper arc. He deserved to open the 8 gates. He deserved more than being Might Guy's hype man at the end of the world. We all hate Sakura, but we can all agree that her character was severely wasted. Sakura Haruno started as the only member of Team 7 without a birthright power. She was forced to build herself from pure intelligence and medical genius. The series did a very unfair job portraying Sakura's character and mostly left out some of her feats or dampened them in comparison to others. When Sasuke left and Naruto trained with Jiraiya, Sakura had 3 years to become something fearsome under Tsunade's tutelage, and she did, but she rarely contributed to the story in a meaningful manner afterward, and much of her personality revolved around her obsession with Sasuke, leaving questions about who Sakura was outside of that. The Fourth War handed her a power-up she didn't earn on screen, gave her one impressive moment, and then pushed her back to the sidelines. She had everything required to be the series' greatest medical combat hybrid. The story never fully committed to making that happen. At number 2 is Neji Hyuga. If you look at things carefully, Neji might be the single most disrespected character in Naruto history, full stop. He was called a prodigy even by the Hyuga main family. He was confirmed in the second Boruto novel as the best Byakugan user in the history of his clan. The best, ever. In a clan that produced some of the most feared fighters the Leaf has ever seen. His arc in part 1 was perfect. The bitter, fate-obsessed genius dismantled by a dead last, who believed in free will, only to slowly come around and embrace the idea that destiny can be changed. That is a complete arc. What Shippuden owed him was the follow-through. Unlike part 1, where Neji demonstrated his skills in genuine combat, he didn't have any battle in Shippuden that showcased what he was capable of. And then Kishimoto confirmed the worst. Neji's death was orchestrated primarily to strengthen the romance between Naruto and Hinata, the greatest Byakugan user in clan history. Killed to push a ship. He didn't die breaking fate, he died repeating it, sacrificing himself just as his father did, the very cycle his entire arc was supposed to shatter. And at the top of this list, wearing the crown of wasted potential with complete authority, is Madara Uchiha. Fans waited years for this man. He was the shadow over the entire series, the legend behind Obito's mask, the name that made Kage flinch. When he finally arrived in the war arc, he delivered. He fought an entire army alone. He dropped meteors. He was awesome. After years of buildup as Naruto's ultimate antagonist, his sudden replacement by Kaguya felt abrupt. Kaguya lacked the emotional connection and ideological presence Madara carried throughout the series. Madara was unceremoniously stabbed through the back by Black Zetsu, and fans often rightly cite this as the most frustrating moment in the franchise. He deserved a final battle against Naruto and Sasuke. He deserved to go down swinging against the Sons of the Sage. Instead, he got betrayed by a sentient piece of black goo and used as a vessel for a character nobody had heard of 5 episodes earlier. The greatest villain Naruto ever built turned into a plot device. And if that doesn't make you want to flip a table, you haven't been paying close enough attention. But if you think this was interesting, check out this other video that's appearing on your screen. Go ahead, click it.